Couple of months back, Senator Elizabeth Warren, um,
Commonly referred to as Pocahontas.
commonly referred to as Pocahontas by our commander in chief, um, she had
Can you really say R now? I mean, can you really say R?
you've got to believe me. It took me like a good couple of years to now we're all almost at the end of his first term, and I would just wake up to the news and hear President Trump said, I'm like, fucking President Trump. It just it hit me when I was taking my son to a social or no a basketball practice that was on a military base. And you know how they have the pictures on a military base that'll show, here's our Department of Defense chief, here's the commander of our branch, and there was old Mr. Apprentice himself right there, as his little stern "you're fired" look. I'm
Yeah,
like, he's president, man.
yeah,
Oh,
that guy.
and another thing that I thought was hilarious was I took my son to another event at another base or what have you, and two of the mothers were talking, and one of the mothers said to the other mother, she said, "My son has to do a report on presidents, and he wants to do his report on Trump because Trump helped Kevin out in Home Alone too."
Oh my god, hilarious! That's so funny. That is so funny.
I'm like, she's not wrong.
And that's what made him president, So,
So my thing about Elizabeth Warren and going on the Pocahontas thing, and I think this will lead us into handicapping what we have as the 2020 horse race. She came out with a DNA test. She went to whatever.
which is absurd, by the way. That's
It,
dumb.
that's the whole thing. Uh, she it was in the news. The Boston Globe carried it. Everybody carried it, and she was like, well, it shows that I'm of native ancestry.
Yeah,
He's like, all right, good job, good job. And then
yeah,
somebody actually did the math, and they're like, well, yeah, but you're like 128th native
yeah,
ancestry, so that's like anybody out on the street.
yeah, yeah.
And everybody made fun of her and things like that. My conspiracy theory is this: I think she knew that she was going to have to account for that at some point. I think
Yes,
she knew it was going to be a disaster.
yes,
And although the rollout of the whole thing looked terrible, I think her and her advisors most likely came together and said, "This is going to be terrible. We just might as well address it now.
and get it out of the
Otherwise,
way. Yeah,
yeah, otherwise it's going to carry us through Iowa. It's going to be
yeah,
there in New Hampshire. It's going to be there in the debates." Um,
yeah,
and instead, you just go on ahead and say, "I've already talked about it on a separate topic. I'm not talking about it anymore." Um,
yeah, yeah.
I, I
Yeah,
think
I get that. I get that. The whole goal is let's just get it out there and take it to the extent that we can, and then. But you know what? Here's what I think. Being a person who likes to annoy people,
no, Ortega, you got out.
yeah, that I know that you're surprised by that.
Now, see, if I did have the soundtrack, this is where the laugh track would come in, right here. Okay, go on.
Yeah. So my point is that if I in trying to put myself ghostly into the body of Trump, then what I would probably do is just do it to be annoying.
What? Still pester
Yeah.
Elizabeth Warren?
If Warren was a threat to him, he would still keep saying it. He'd still keep doing it. It's not going to breeze over. It's again, we're talking about the people that are coming out that are Trump supporters are people who have been suppressed in their feelings for a long time.
Okay.
They have always felt this way. always. And now we got a guy who's in office who won't. He gets me. You know what? He gets me. I have always felt that these liberals, these lefties, these socialist bastards are trying to take over this country. And now we got a guy who's going to fight for us. I get him.
You think that's the opinion of people who are supporting Trump?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, and I see that, but is he? I think if he were to, well, let me clarify. I think he's going to go into the debates like that, and he'll go on ahead and call someone like Warren a Pocahontas. She seems to be. She seems to, and we can get into if she's going to be a front runner in a second.
Can these people don't want solutions? They don't want.
They don't want solutions, but it's a matter of can he get if he goes on that attack. I think people are exhausted of that.
Yeah.
Shall we call it the rhetoric?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't even. Listen. I would go beyond calling it rhetoric. I would say these people are exhausted. In the parlance of what people would normally know. They're being exhausted from being sold a bill of goods. And so, you know what? If I can't get what I want, I might as well just piss him off. And you know what? This guy just goes around and pisses people off. And you know what? This guy gets things done.
Okay. But does that mean, like, let me ask you this. Does Trump carry Florida? Your opinion. Let's do some handicapping right now.
Yeah. You know, I think he does. I think that but here's the thing. So back to my, incendiary comments on Facebook.
Please carry on.
I have in part of my experiments have said, all right, listen, I get that you feel that way about Trump and you know how I feel about it, but I invite you to sit down with me in a phone conversation at the bar. I'll buy the beer and let's have a discussion about this. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I have said this 20 times. I put that out there to these people who are, fighting me on Facebook that they think they're fighting me out. Excuse me. And only one person did it.
Really?
Yeah. So it was a guy that his older brother, is a guy I went to high school with, and I'd known him since I was in middle school. It was a younger brother. And Ken, I swear to God, he called me one of the elders of Wayland. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, let's just lay this on thick.
What is the elders of Wayland?
I'm from a tri-city area called Wayland, Moline, and Dorr, Dorr. I'm from Dorr, and in my history, I moved back and forth there. My family, my mother still lives in the area. My brother still lives in the area.
Is this a Dungeons and Dragons thing or what?
No, I swear to God, this is true. But that's good. But apparently my name is invoked in the area because I supposedly made it. I know you're laughing at that, but that's what they think. It's a low bar, my friend. It is a low bar.
Do they have a statue of you in the middle of Wayland? Okay, people from Wayland, don't hit up my social media, okay? I don't mean to knock your sacred cow.
You know what? You know what I call it? Listen. You know what I call it? And so, of course there's this friendly rivalry that's always gone on between Dorr and Wayland, right? Moline is so tiny that it just didn't matter. But listen, this is funny.
Everybody knows about this rivalry.
Everybody does. Everybody. And I see there is conflict everywhere, Ken. There is conflict everywhere. You need to know that. You need to know that.
If we can get.
I know you grew up in Miami. These things don't happen, right?
Well, I'm telling you, if we can get Wayland and Dorr together, certainly there's hope for the West Bank.
And by the way, we're talking about a Dutch Polish community. I mean Dutch Polish, well, somewhat English community, right? Okay. But anyway, so here's the thing. So this guy calls me. I'm like, come on, dude, you lay this shit thick. So But he was saying to me, we had this conversation now, and I have found this pattern to be very common. So him and I were talking, and I said, okay, let's get into this. Why do you like Trump so much? So we start talking, and
Sure.
and so I would say, what about this? And what about this? And what about this? And he would say, well, yeah, I don't like it that he does that. Or, oh, you know what? The tweet's got to stop. Oh, yeah, I don't want the deficit to go so high. And okay, so by the time we get done, every question I have asked him, he says, yeah, I think that's wrong. At the end, I say, okay, I've laid out like 5 things to you in which you agreed with me is wrong. Are you finally convinced that Trump is not the right guy for the office? And his response was,
No.
no.
Okay. Why?
He didn't give me an answer why.
Okay.
I just think he's a good president. Now, wait a minute. I just laid out to you with all logic why this guy is not fit for this office. And yet you still follow him. And what's even funnier about this, I said to him, listen, I will tell you what, my friend, that here are the things I think he has done that are productive, because listen, even a blind dog finds a bone.
Sure.
But I don't think he is the right president. Didn't matter. And that is what we face today.
So you think that there is, and I can understand that there is with any leader, there is such a hardcore group that is going to follow that leader no matter what. Okay.
Yeah.
You can keep on going back with Obama, with either Bush, Clinton, all the way through, and they'll have a hardcore group. Of course, I don't think we've had anybody who's, let's say, treated the Oval Office to the degree that this guy has.
You are so nice. You are being so nice today. By the way,
I am.
You are being so nice. Don't worry. I will make sure that the very bad things don't come out on the show. But I'll capture the moment.
Okay, thank you very much.
Although if you say, yeah, he's that stuff's going online. That is going online.
Well, just because I would end up using the term. Okay, there's your promo right there. Well, there you go. So it's a matter of, does he carve out enough of a group outside of his hardcore supporters to win the presidency?
He doesn't care.
I don't. So you don't think he cares whether he gets reelected or not?
You know what? I actually think for him, being the narcissistic guy he is, I think he is going to make it a win either way.
Okay.
Now, is he, does he feel like, is he going to put all his effort into it? Of course he is. I mean, not to mention that, as soon as he's out of office, someone's going to be waiting with handcuffs for him. But outside of that, so, I mean, of course, he does have motivation to get reelected. Outside of that, I really feel that if let's say he lost and honestly, and I'm going to say this, I don't think that I think he has a chance of winning. I do. And I can tell you why later, but if he loses, it's going to be because, well, it was because the media was against him. You're being duped. We have immigrants that are voting illegally. People are voting twice because they don't have to show their ID. All those talking points. All that. Remember, Trump was a conspiracy guy before all this stuff happened. He has been.
Oh yeah.
So of course he's going to do the same thing if he loses. There is a reason why that has no direct proof, and even if there is proof, it doesn't matter because we've got a lot of lemmings that just feel like that he's right. and he's gonna walk away from it going, I got screwed. I got screwed. It's the system. The system is messed up. That's why I didn't get reelected. If he gets reelected, which is what happened the last time, because he was walking into this going, the elections are rigged. The election's rigged. Oh, I won. Yeah, the people have spoken.
I think he walked in there a similar way that Schwarzenegger walked into the California governorship. I don't think Schwarzenegger intended to make it to governor. I think he walked over there thinking, hey, this is going to be fun. I'll run for governor. They'll choose the other guy, and I'll add that to my resume.
Yeah.
I think Trump did the same thing. I mean, if you remember the rollout for his election, it was like really sloppy. It was really ham-handed, and everybody's like, oh, this is going to be our comic relief as
I know, right?
As Hillary and Sanders.
Yeah.
Hillary and Sanders go toe to toe.
But there's no way he's going to win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, what are you looking at as far as the esteemed 2020 class of Democratic hopefuls?
Oh God, I was hoping you wouldn't ask me that.
Oh, I'm definitely asking you that now.
So, to our viewers,
sure.
I have been to my friend Ken has been registered independent for how long?
At probably the point I moved out of my family house, because my mom said if I wasn't registered as a Republican, she'd throw me out. So I probably went over independent after that. As soon as I moved out.
So my parents were both registered Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, because I have to rebel, I went Republican.
Okay.
However, I felt like that was a good way to go, and that's a whole other story. But I've been a registered Republican voter for 30 years, whatever it is, right?
Mm.
There have been people who have left the Republican Party who have had extreme respect for Joe Scarborough, George Will, that have left the Republican Party, but I have stood with the Republican Party, and what I found was that by doing so, it actually gives me an in, because as soon as people start looking at me, oh, you must be a leftist, you must be a Democrat. Actually, here's my card. Bam. I've been a Republican. And then they seem to calm down a little bit, and then I get to be able to talk. What was your original question?
My original question was the handicapping of the 2020 Democrats.
So if I look at the Democratic nominees,
and we don't have to go through them one by one because we'll be here all night.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so to sort through the dark psychic forces, I would have to say that I there are two nominees I really like.
Okay, let's hear.
Klobuchar, I like her.
Okay.
Harris, I like her.
Okay, so let's start with the lesser known Klobuchar.
No, hold on. Before you go on, so let me add to this too. I do think that Biden could be a good nominee, but I'm getting my doubts as I watch him. So go ahead.
Okay. All right. We'll come back to Biden in a second, but let's talk about the lesser known Klobuchar and what gets you excited there.
So what I like about Klobuchar is that and I get worried about her because I know she's playing politics, and I know she's trying to. There has to be some pandering done, but I view her with somebody who has more conservative views. She reminds me of Clinton a lot. A Clinton without Lewinsky. So okay. a Clinton who is a conservative Democrat who looks for fiscal responsibility, for having a sound mind. Now let me say this: I'm not endorsing Klobuchar. I'm just saying this is what I like about her. Okay. And remember, there is a debate that's coming up between the Republican president, Trump, and the Democratic nominee, whoever that person is. It is not just about policy, because Trump is not going to talk about policy.
No.
He is not going to talk about policy. What he's going to talk about is all the great things I've done and all the things I've done with no proof and no stats and no nothing. And that person who is going to debate with him has to stand against that. And I see Klobuchar as one of those types of people who is not going to put up with that kind of nonsense. She's like your mom.
Okay.
She's going to walk in and say, you know, honey, I know that you feel that way, but you're not right. And I'm your mom, and you have to listen to me because here's the facts. Join us on Polis, where we work to find common ground through discourse. We would talk about all things, political or otherwise. This is an open forum for discussion about all aspects of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.